Oh, can I help you? It is you who would help me? Is my anxiety truly so obvious? A burden shared is a burden eased. Pray tell us of thy troubles. Those little fellows do look like good listeners. I'm an engineer, you see, and what they say of the ship, the sum of decades of Charlian ingenuity, is built with peerless, elegant technology. It's all true, but I know that none of that's a guarantee. We've never before launched a starfaring vessel, let alone flown it in the great expanse. All the tests we've run have been on the ground. Only operational personnel and cargo will be aboard for the first voyage. But even so, if it fails us then, what can we do? And if it doesn't, it could fall apart on the next flight, or the one after that. We've done everything we can to prevent that from happening, but it hardly matters. I thought the ether burner's design was flawless too. Look how that turned out. Thou art familiar with these most daunting technologies, and thus dost thou hold the power to allay his fear? Oh, I'm not sure about that, but well. Maybe you could tell me if there are any aspects of the ship's design that you're especially worried about? Our ability to walk about and perform our tasks for one, or devise a means by which to employ gravity, a spatio-temporal spell to regulate the environment. But what if it's not strong enough? What if everyone floats away and begins crashing into things as soon as we've left the star? Gravitation. Maybe I can be of help after all. Up there is not so different from down here, you see? Same rules apply. And if you consider them as part of one great big cosmos rather than separate places. So they're having quite the conversation. I suspect both parties shall find comfort in the conversation. Yet, if Thancred's tale be true, still others will benefit from insights born of experience. Try to prevail upon the Loporits to attend them. Excellent idea, if I do say so myself. There is naught we'd like more than to ease the hearts of the fine people of Aetheris. Learn more about them while we're at it. Well, glad am I to hear it. Gather thy companions and bring them hither. Aetheris, thou hast a gift for finding souls in need of succor. Pray seek thee out the distressed and the apprehensive, and inform them that help is at hand. I shall await them here, that I might introduce each to a suitable Loporit. Got you, buddy. Oh, I do so look forward to it. I place for every Loporit, and every Loporit in their place. Anybody in need of help? Cute little bunny. Ow. Still indivisible. What's happening? Come on, bro. How might I help you? Why, what a lovely idea. I too noticed people becoming rather tense. I rushed out to pluck some fresh and fragrant tea leaves, and I'd only tracked down 100 or so cups. But don't you worry, I can manage. The plan to cheer everyone up goes well. This one is doing better than you are. Necessary to say that? Damn it! I'm gonna press that button. Blasted assistants, why have they gone off to at a time like this? Beg pardon, but I have not the time for idle chit-chat. I need to reconfirm the ether levels are consistent throughout the vessel's machinery. It seems I shall have to do so single-handedly. I swear when I find those assistants of mine. Maybe I know someone. The Loporits are willing to help? Why did you say so? At least they won't moan about how they checked 2 dozen times already and haven't slept in weeks. Taunts. Huh. Oh. My face? What's wrong with my... Oh, perhaps I am a bit tense. I was tasked with ensuring that the proper fauna, and only the proper fauna, are brought with us to the moon. However, the suitability of a few species is still under debate, and I can hardly make the decision myself when I know so little about the environment up there. Look, I think we have people who know about it up there. Including the lowbirds in our discussions is a wonderful idea. I absolutely will. Thank you. Perhaps their biology itself might offer some clue as well. You idiot! Have you seen an envelope lying about? Am I an idiot? This imbecile refuses to give me the alchemic I ordered without that bloody slip of parchment. Unless your friends have a spell to make me remember where I dropped my damned envelope, I doubt they'll be more helpful than you. And you've wasted enough of my time already. It'll be unfortunate for all involved to inflict this man upon the lowbirds. How? But so are collaborators. I suppose that'll be more effective than sitting here brooding. I'm tempted to calculate how much cargo we can consolidate into fewer trips. The ether burner make our original estimates unfeasible. But there are simply too many variables. As if my brow would turn upside down, inside out. Perhaps our lunar associates will have more insight into how much weight constitutes too much weight for our purposes. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, we have. Worries. No, I believe I'm fine. Thank you. I've been confiding in my colleagues and it's helped a lot. I recommend it though. Can't recommend it enough. Oh, that's the current. This dress already has the support she needs. Wow. Skeptical researcher. Have you heard anything of what's on the moon? I have no doubt that we can make it up there, but the searching for a new star part of the plan sounds awfully vague to me. I asked the forum, but they will only tell us that our collaborators have everything under control. Forgive me, but I don't feel particularly safe wandering through the sea of stars on gods know what made by gods know who. Well, they're here, so you can ask them. When you said I could speak with them directly? Amazing! I hope they like questions. Despondent. Just leave me to my misery. The forum can appoint someone else. I apologize. I simply don't know what to do. How am I supposed to pilot the Ark if I'm already falling apart under the pressure? You know a starship pilot that I might speak with? Truly? Well then, there's no time to waste. They can help me prepare for this monumental task. Anything bothering me? Well, I've been loading cargo for bells now, so my back feels like a void sense played it as a piano. Feet and knees are drums and cymbals too. It seems fine if in need of a break. What am I thinking about? The medical facilities on the ship, of course. I designed them with the assistance of our sages and chirurgeons. But to imagine every illness or injury that one might face in that great expanse is beyond any of us. Say nothing of the effects that living out there indefinitely might have on the body. The crew from the moon? Why didn't I think of that? There you go. Capricious engineer. A researcher. The end of the world is nigh, yet the work goes no faster. Schedules are Such temperamental things. Feasible one moment, utter bollocks the next. Yet, I never felt so alive. This one is beyond your help. Only sleep can save her now. Concerns? Nay, there's no point in worrying at this stage. It'll only make the work go that much slower. Needs to be coping well. Need 2 more. Hyperventilating. Yeah, I think you need some help. Oh my god, my chest is tight. Am I dying? Is this what dying feels like? I think you might be having a panic attack. Oh, do pardon me. I didn't see you there. There's no cause for concern, I assure you. No cause for concern, even though we may need to depart at any moment, and if the whole design buckles under the strain, the entire vessel may explode on launch, claiming countless lives and doing all mankind. But that is highly unlikely. Yes, highly unlikely. Highly. Our visitors can help me triple check for structural flaws, you say? Oh, wait, that would be wonderful. I'm breathing more easily already. Director researcher? 56 punches a week on a girl. 56. What's happening? Are you okay? If I'm not neglecting my duties, I swear. I was in need of a little break, you see, but then I found myself unable to relax at all. I went on a walk and then I noticed these weeds and pleasant conversation partners and oh so fuzzy? Goodness me, that does sound like a much better way to relax. They are quite fuzzy indeed. Behold, Ceres, through thine efforts word hath spread through Labyrinthos. Verily to a far greater number than we anticipated. Livingway doth gather more lopers as we speak. I shall assign each in accordance with their skills, the new bonds of friendship might be forged. Should greater matters require not thine attentions over them. Really? Can I? That was my phone. Or my piece.
So much in, well, in forever.
Lively, isn't it? The town is abuzz. Everyone eager to meet with our friends from the moon.
Twould behoove you to consult with Sleepingway. As our moon's pilot, his advice should be most pertinent.
I'm impressed. Truth be told, I struggle to tell one from another. No offense intended, of course.
None taken. After you and your friends left Mare Elementorum, we spent no small amount of time with your Urianger. Oh, the conversations we had. He told us all about Atheris, answered our every question, no matter how trifling or trivial. Look! Every page filled to the margins with knowledge. When I first arrived, I was struck by how little I knew. It was daunting. But then I realized that were it not for Urianger and his teachings, we'd still be stuck on the moon, gazing at your world and wondering what we've been missing.
What would they think if they could see Urianger now? I dare say they'd be more than a bit surprised. And impressed, no doubt. Master Louisoix, Minfilia, Papalimo, and not to forget.
Oh there. Heard there was a visiting expert who we might bother with a few questions. I take it you'd be the one.
Yes, I am.
Tell me that.
Wilson and Blovida, Sharlayan's foremost researchers in the field of teleportation magic, and Moonbreeder's parents.
It hath been some time. Tis good to see you in good health.
Likewise, old friend. Blovida and I were most honored to answer the call. Never expected this reunion, though, did we, dear?
I'll say, the nerve. Sending that letter, then running off to the gods know where. Do you have any idea how worried we were?
I'm sorry. 'Twas remiss of me not to deliver the news in person. No, more than that. 'Twas I who...
Our daughter was disillusioned after Master Louisoix left her behind. The day the Scions called upon her was the happiest I'd seen her in years. She made her every choice of her own free will. No one could have ever forced her to do otherwise. Don't blame yourself for her death. Celebrate her life. You know that's what she'd want.
If there is one thing we resent you for, it was that we could not be there to mourn her with you. Reading the words you penned in that shaky hand, we must have cried as much for you as we did for her.
I'm sorry. I truly, truly am. I knew not what to say. Knew not how to express my feelings. The poems and platitudes of wiser men, musings on sadness and loss, studied and memorized, and meaningless in the moment.
Silly boy. We are all powerless before such grief. Even now, try as I might, the words escape me. But in our hearts, we know, we always know.
I remember when you were young, how the lads teased you for choosing the company of books over others. Our moon didn't take kindly to that. Be nice to Urianger, she'd shout, and give them a walloping. No matter how many times we scolded her.
So we offered a suggestion. Rather than starting fights, why don't you be the bridge between Urianger and the others? She had to mull it over for a while. Arms crossed, brow furrowed in intense thought. But from that day on, she never let you be alone. She'd drag you outside to play, pepper you with endless questions, read the same books you read, all to try and understand you that much better. I'm sure it was annoying and exhausting at the time, but she only ever had the best of intentions.
And look at you now, at the center of the crowd. The reason there even is a crowd, having brought these people together. You've no idea how proud we are.
To see the boy, our daughter, trusted and believed in more than anyone, grow into the man she always knew he could be. I can see her in you too. Feel her. She walks with you wheresoever you go. So thank you, Urianger, for being who you are.
I think I can feel her too. The truth of her life. Not sorrow, but hope and love.
This moon breeder. She was important to him, wasn't she?
You could ask the man himself.
Oh, no. But watching this exchange reminds me how much I've yet to learn about your world. And its people.
You can live here your entire life and hardly learn a thing. And that's why it's too soon for this to end.
Oh, they finally reconciled with her parents. Sarah, be assured that I am fine. I am. So glad to see them too after so very long. Gladder still that it was in your company. Difficult as it was to accept their kindness, it would have been far harder that had I faced them alone. That has my gratitude for lending courage to the Luperits. Not disposed to the rest of their laurels, several of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may still come hither seeking counsel, and so shall I remain to aid them as need be. If thou art needed elsewhere, do not let me detain thee. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check on Alize. Last I saw, she was struggling to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate. I could go myself, but we both know whose help she's less like to scorn. Not to mention that, much to my misfortune, I can think of several other things I ought to be doing. So later. What was it? Theris, what are you doing out here? We'll squeal, there's something in there? No, I don't mind if you help with the boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Sure? I appreciate the assistance. I need to get these to Aporia. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples, so try not to be too rough with them. Alphino should be waiting for us when we arrive. See you there. I gotta go over to the other. Alphino. Oh, you're helping with the crates? Wonderful. You can put that there with the others. And my gratitude. But how did you come to be involved in this? I just needed something to do. Then I suppose I have Thinker to thank as well. If you were wondering why we were tasked with bringing these boxes to Aporia to begin with, so was I. Turns out that this is a base of operations of sorts. Those with final say as to what is included to the ship's manifest can be found here. All are included, I suspect. That should be everything. Carried all that at once? Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh hush, they're lighter than they look, and not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we finished. Theo Pauldine is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance at least. Considering where we are, we might even learn something interesting. Hold on, let me attune to this first. God, it never ends. It never ends, does it? What can I do for you? We brought samples from Charlie and Hamlet, series 110. The crates are by the entrance. I think you had expected one of my colleagues, but we are dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You're Fortuno's children, are you not? Not for no one else, eh? At your service. For the country with father, I take it? Why, I've been friends with your parents since our days at the studium. I remember when you were yay high, waddling hither and thither. Clearly, it's been quite some time since we met. It's good to see you again. Building your father's knowledge, no less. You know our parents when they were young? What are they like? Pray spare no detail. It's like nothing more than to regale you. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here. And reams of paperwork want for submission. I can help with that. In exchange for this sort of stories, our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. Very well then. There happen to be 3 sets of documents in need of delivery, so how about you each take one? Right there. She really wants to learn about that stuff, huh? You'll find a foreign representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost structure. I hope I haven't kept her waiting too long. Never mind Alpha and Jose. I'm certain that we'll be back soon enough. Southernmost? Alright there. Are you not one of the Scions? Yes, I am. See Paladin's paperwork. I was beginning to worry he had misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in seeing these documents to my hands at last. As for your other tab, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope you Scions succeed. The Exodus is without doubt the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, so we must be circumspect in all aspects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlian has ever been a nation of the curious. It would be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie your pursuit of truth. Well, we're trying. Quick and efficient, I dare say you have a talent for this work. The twins' papers only needed to be delivered to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning any moment. Hello. We return with not a scrap of paperwork remaining on our persons. You know? You both have my thanks and my apologies for sending you on an errand far below your ambitions. Why, even as a babe, you struggled out of your swaddling clothes and... There's quite enough of that, thank you. Those compromising stories of our parents that we'd ask to hear. You ask here to reiterate? Of course. I've known your father for so long, I must have something. Well, as you know, part of why the Levier name garners such respect in Charlian is your family's story and history. You two can trace your ancestry directly to those who came aboard Hume Krebs Hope, a lineage few can claim. Never thought much of it myself. It's not as though our forebears founded our nation, they were simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride. It is why Hume Krebs' pronouncement renounced the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason has never been our family's creed. To your grandfather's time, aye. Archon Louisoix looked not to Neumkrep's words, but his deeds. He asserted, in defiance of his peers, that choosing to save the great and the small from the rising tides was the true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilizations, that led him to conclude that to eschew conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to his doom. There will ever be conflict, and calamity will follow. Thus, to ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. You remember his words well. Indeed, Archon Louisoix lived for that personal creed, and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charlian or no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet, Fortunato could not reconcile Louisoix's deeds with the philosophy of their forebears and his peers, a philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Fortunato agonized over this contradiction for much of his life. God's father. A son may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. Is it not always thus? God to know Fortunato's a cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that you are constantly in his thoughts, every moment of every day. That is not an exaggeration in the slightest. You should have seen him when you were born. Barely recognizable he was, with a kind of dumbfounded grin I had not seen since he first took a fancy to your mother. He was practically skipping when he told me the news. Take my word for it, he loves you to an embarrassing degree. He is also frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other end of it, as I'm sure you will agree. I'll say. Thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. That doesn't get me in too much trouble now. I need the form on my side. Speaking of which, how do we be getting back to work? I have to make sure those specimens you brought make it to their proper places. Or the cranky old goat will have my hide. We'll speak again later. Hail, you three. Oh, really Coco hasn't driven you out of the forge already. For better or for worse, no. However, he has set me a task that requires more than my single pair of hands. Here you are. I could use at least one of you, but I won't object to more. Fortunately, Alize and I have prior commitments. We have delayed too long as it is. What about you, Saris? Can you spare the time? I don't got nothing to do. Perfect. This shouldn't take long. In the event that our, and I quote, promised heap of adamantite falls right out of the bloody sky and into my lap, Master Coco wishes to be ready to put the powerful proverbial hammer to anvil at a moment's notice. To fabricate these parts, however, he needs the flames in Coco's forge to burn hotter, aiming to increase the amount of ether being funneled to his furnaces. The flow of fire-aspected ether in Labyrinthos is regulated by an elemental reactor south of here, of which I have borrowed the key. Adjustments will be required two people to carry out safely, but I can explain the process when we arrive. So we'll repart then. We'll see you in Charlie and Hamlet once the Adamant arrives, if not before. This way then. Let me do this. I've got 3 stuff. More stuffs. God damn. Oh. Kind of cute. Not the kind of color that I like, but $5.35. All of my jewelry, they're just keeping me down. We're just making our way fucking all around this ring, aren't we? The reactor is housed in this facility. I'll be the one to go inside and adjust the fire ether output. When I do, a rather large amount of water aspected ether will issue from the vent at the top. I expect this to attract at least a few elementals, which we would both rather not be drawn into the reactor itself. Trust me. Can I say you put down any that draw too near? They'll pose you little trouble, I'm sure. Wait here if you would. Hello. Oh. Oh, take that all of them. Did everything go smoothly out there? Out here? Yep, it did. Not as much. No major complications to speak of inside either. Water ether appears to be venting properly. I expect Coco will have seen a difference in this forge flames by the time I return. But since I have you, there was another matter I thought to discuss with you. Nothing terribly important, merely something I've been considering. Part of this I shared with everyone, yet you and only you have been to Elpis. As we have established, refined adamantites is a product of Alec, one of the Empire's twilight years, in fact. It was a material which saw much use as part of the Elegant's efforts to extend beyond the bounds of this world, Allenwood of course being the most prominent. Of those who would push further expand Alec's empire to encompass the heavens and the stars above, perhaps the greatest was its infamous technologist Amon. Remember his life as her. I believe he had his own reasons. There's no evidence to suggest that he retained memories of his former life. He only joined the Asians once the Empire was all but dust, as you know. If not his memory, though, what drove him to pursue the idea with such fervor? This may seem far-fetched, but what if souls, like minds, have a personality, so to speak, natural disposition towards which they are inclined? We know with relative certainty that it was the gross decadence and inexorable decline of Alec that moved Amon to resurrect Emperor Zande. The Empire's people spoke lightly of death and destruction, experimenting on those they deemed beneath them to fill the emptiness in their hearts. In facilitating Zande's return, Amon provided these languid souls with a means to free themselves from the mire of their own indolence. Or would have, had not Zande been convinced by his own death that life itself was meaningless. Amon's desire for his countrymen to conquer the heavens could only be a means to the same end, to instill the people with new purpose. Like Hermes before him, Amon was appalled by how those around him lived, but could never bring himself to believe that those lives were devoid of meaning. Both of them sought that meaning, that hope in the distant stars. Which is my theory anyway. Ultimately, it is the consequence of their actions which matter. Their motives are of no moment. Yeah. To reach those stars on the wings of adamantite, to travel to the ends of creation and beyond. Promise of hope everlasting, which I do understand. But enough musings for now. Why don't we see how Kokol is getting on? Yeah, I can feel those flames ablazing from here. Glad you found someone capable, Graha, but there's not much left for you lot to do. Guess you can conjure up that refined adamantite any faster. I do trust you to deliver on your promise, I do, only... I hate waiting. I want the adamantite, I want it now. We share your impatience, I assure you. Is there truly nothing else you can assist with in the meantime? I wish. This sentence about unbearable. Pity the form frowns on recreational explosions. Well, so long as they can prove it was premeditated. Yet you gone, I have mistakes to make. In that case, I suppose I should go and return the key to the reactor. I'll have one more look to make sure that nothing has gone wrong, unintentionally or otherwise. I'm certain there are better uses for your time, however. We'll join you in Charlie and Hamlet alone. No. If you wait here, your companions are bound to turn up sooner or later. Yeah.
All set, I take it?
Yep.
We finished what we could. Delivered supplies, tracked down escaped animals. Trivial tasks as they may be.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the ether burner, that is.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loperites, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have for the most part been allayed, though some insist on making adjustments to the very end. For their part, Livingway and her peers have graciously offered to stay and keep the people company, lest any lingering queries go unanswered.
All that remains is to wait for the refined adamantite.
Alphino, are you there? It's me, Kryl. Your special delivery has arrived. Round up everyone and come to the harbor at once.
Ooh.
Speak of the devil. Let us go at once.
Forgive the intrusion, Master Fortuner. I bring urgent news. A great commotion has broken out in Scholar's Harbor. Your presence is requested with all speed.
Motion?
Now, where might this delivery be? Oh.
Is that is that all Adamant? What? What else? If we ask for relics at Adamante, they think they bring all this.
I'm sure it's very important, but we cannot accept these without the proper permits.
By the 12! Surely, these can't all be.
Bleeding hellfire! They're bringing them by sea and by air. All these folks in these crates.
Oh boy.
And more on the way. Got your adamantite right here. A bigger haul than any of these sorry bastards brought, and that's no lie.
Yes, because you were charged with seeing the shipments from Gridania and Uldar here, along with your own. Give credit where credit is due.
Sounds like the sorry whinging of a sore loser. An hypocrite to boot. Ain't no way a scrawny whelp like you took a dozen steps inside a Adamant shard.
I'll have you know I went all the way to the entrance. I
Oh,
played a
God.
vital role in keeping a lookout whilst our expeditionary forces secured the Adamantite.
Left you outside so you wouldn't get anyone killed, did they? Well then, credit where credit's due, you did a right fine job sitting on your ass.
Take that back.
Make me.
Quite good friends, huh?
I will not stoop to your level.
My, what a grand welcome party. Hancock and Saraban. We come bearing relics both sacred and Allegan, as well as a few other gifts that may be of help, to be presented with best wishes from the Eastern Alliance.
Oh my god.
I myself have come with a sacred relic of the Kojin. Upon learning of your need, Bunchin bade me deliver it on behalf of the Blue with all haste. Fearing I could not swim here with the necessary speed, however, I thought to beg our Confederate allies for aid. To my delight, Hancock was already preparing for departure at the self-same port, and had space for additional cargo.
We did, of course, need quite the impressive vessel to get it all here in time.
Isn't that the...
That is all wonderful to hear, but what of the extraordinary cost? I shudder to think of the ransom we must pay for such a bounty.
Fret not for your coin purse, young Alphino. Lord Lolorito looks ever towards the profits of the future, and thus the East Aldenar Trading Company went to some lengths to reduce the financial liability. And since the Scions funded the entire venture, not a gill need be rendered up in compensation. Everything is already yours.
Oh.
We funded the venture? When?
Yeah, what?
Don't
Oh,
let
why?
men fool you. This coin keeper knows a thing or two about spending. When it comes to capital investiture, a sprinkling of gil here and there will not do. You need enough savings to make waves when it really counts, which is why frugality is paramount. We also have the benefit of a generous patron. Generous being rather an understatement. She has supported us from the shadows since the very founding of the Scions. We even had coffers to fill.
Is it? Yeah.
Mother!
Millions.
I remain, of course, an entirely neutral party. I simply thought our family's coffers were needlessly full. We can hardly take them with us on your teeny-tiny toy boat, now can we? And would be a shame to leave all that hard-earned wealth unspent. Waste not.
However did you manage so much in so short a time then? We expected word to reach only a fraction of our allies.
Did I not tell you I have my ways?
Erenville, you were involved too.
I received a letter from Cryle after we parted ways in Labyrinthos. She explained what the Scions were trying to accomplish, and why you might soon require the services of the Gleaners, spread across the world as we are. I pray you do not interpret this as a betrayal of Charlie. I accept that the Forum's aim in pushing us to our limits was to preserve what knowledge we have, and I bear you no ill will for it. Yet, in collecting that knowledge, what I came to appreciate most about our star is that there remains so much we do not know. That is why I chose to help the Scions, to combat the obliteration of those countless, undiscovered wonders. I held no illusions that they would be less demanding taskmasters. Though, rest assured, if I had, I would have been sorely disappointed. To make a long story short, the whole of the guild ship cooperated to ensure your call was heard far and wide.
God damn, everybody's here.
What's this about a ship that can fly to the moon?
Ooh, he's excited about that.
And why didn't you mention it sooner? The one time you don't beg my aid, your problem's a bloody ship that can fly to the moon.
See it? You brought the team.
Of course. Garland Ironworks' finest. You need only point us towards my new favorite ship.
As you like us not suspect, we've also brought Adamantite for Mordona's Dalamud Shard. I admit to some consternation upon first receiving Kryle's message. So few Scions remain at the Rising Stones now. Far too few for such an expedition. However, the Gleaners were able to secure us reinforcements. Idleshire's treasure hunters, not least among them.
Fascinating as all this is, I fail to see how it explains your presence here. Does Razat Khan not have more pressing concerns?
We do. Yet averting the final days would be the most expedient solution. That, and I am indebted to you. Though they chose to take their leave of Thavnair, those you saved in Galimund remain my people. My gratitude is beyond words. 'Tis appropriate that I aid you in kind. If in the doing we bring salvation to others of this star, so much the better. You will recall that I spoke of my father, Midgard Sommer, and his journey across the great expanse. As he traveled betwixt the stars, his resplendent scales drank of the ether in those nigh empty surrounds, and imparted to him the strength to persevere. Thinking they might further your cause, I called out to my kin for consent. Ajdaya's answer was silence, as ever. Tiamat and Chrisvelgre, however, responded favorably to the suggestion. My sire, too, gave his assent. Thus have I brought you his own worm scales. Fit them to your purpose, and seek a worthier fate for us all.
Midgard Sommer's own scales.
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone else so familiar with the unique properties of dragon scales. So I invited myself along.
But
Look at me, this is so unbelievable. I've gone right back round to believing it again. Forget a 6% gain in efficiency. With all these goodies, we could get 7, no, 10, no, 14 bleeding percent. Think of how far we could go. What we could do with that much power. What we could blow up.
If Kokol is duly convinced, then it must be true. In which case, the Scion's end of the bargain has been fulfilled. Would you not agree?
Yes, Father?
I know not what you seek of Hydaelyn, nor for what purpose you would take command of our ship. Yet this much is certain. To do so will be to dictate the fate of this star and the lives upon it, the lives of each and every creature, in their magnitude and their fragility. Do you understand? And are you prepared?
We have seen and we have felt how much each life shapes this world. And so we are determined to abandon none. We understand what is at stake, and we are prepared to bear this burden.
Then I will bear it with you. I beg you, share your struggles with me, as family. You grasped my fingers with such tiny hands the day you were born. I thought my heart might burst. 'Twas love and happiness beyond expression. Overwhelming, and a conviction so powerful that I trembled with something close to rage. I had heard the final days foretold. I swore to myself then and there that I would not let them steal your futures. The great Exodus would succeed, must succeed. No sacrifice or sin was worse than the alternative. If anything gave me pause, 'twas mine own father. The Archon Louisoix openly decried Charlian's policies, a perspective which I regarded with increasing disdain as I grew older. Yet even as part of me thought him a fool, perhaps I also hoped that he, of all people, would devise a brilliant means to save my children. A naive hope, but stubborn enough that I could never bring myself to keep you apart. No, that was his doing, when he perished at Cartano, as we pulled that twisted slab of Adamant from the sea. I remembered the warmth of your newborn touch. Chastened, I vowed never again to suffer any interference in my mission to protect you. No matter that you yourselves wished otherwise. Detest me, fight me tooth and nail, I would suffer it, and more, and be satisfied so long as I could force you onto the ship. I was wrong. You two have grown so much stronger and so much wiser than I dared dream. You have earned the right to walk your own path, and already begun to do so.
Good. Because there are things we care about, and people we love. And none of them is replaceable. Not a one.
It cannot have been an easy journey for you to have come so far.
We shall be glad to acquaint you with the finer details someday, once this danger has passed. All that we have seen and heard, that we have felt and learned in our travels. Ours is not a kind world, but it is beautiful. Always.
Oh no. Are you quite sure that's wise? After all, someone turns pale and flees the room when he sees so much as an envelope containing word of your adventures. Whatever will happen if he learns what you were really up to?
Amelians. Though I have wronged my children most gravely, I owe you an apology as well. I assumed that it was the Scion's influence that made them so keen to charge headlong into danger. Yours, in particular. I see now that said influence instead brought them together with the many fine people gathered here today. In which case, I hope you continue to guide them.
If we finish loitering about the harbor, might I suggest we put our plans into motion? People are beginning to look confused.
Perhaps you can spare a few words ere they resume the tedious lugging of cargo. You have no small number of friends and admirers here after all.
I ain't too good with words though. Lend us your strength.
Your assistance is appreciated. Now, in an orderly fashion, if you please.
We finally managed to clear the harbor, which the rest is in engineers' capable hands. Oh god, didn't mean to do that. Meanwhile, Father has issued us an invitation. As we agreed, he will reveal the means by which Hydaelyn may be. We are to meet him at Aporia when we're ready. Given the vital knowledge she holds, I suggest we leave without delay. It transpires, however, that the Forum's method for speaking with her is not without risks. I'm curious to hear what those might entail, but regardless, be warned. Also, those who arrived with the Adamant have offered to stay and see to any remaining tasks that need doing. The Forum has already asked for my assistance in overseeing the processes. So you needn't worry about a thing. Thank you, Jitaro. We're off to Aporia then. What is this big old thing in the middle is the ship? A cuff. Come on, Fortuno. There's, I have already shown the others inside. You will want to speak with Clara Lane. She has the key to the lift and can send you down after me. Come on, my bike is in here too. Oh my god, look at that big old thing. Jesus Griminy. From here we proceed to the heart of Labyrinthos, and its most closely guarded secret, Thalmazine. It marks the beginning and end of our efforts, whence we delve to seek audience with the star, and whence we will embark on our journey to the heavens. This way, if you please. Jesus Christ, this place is huge. God. Just like empty the entire. You could just go in the circle. Oh, is that the ship? I just saw a little bit of it. Oh my. I bid you welcome to Thalmazine. Direct your attention towards its center to behold the ark over which we have long labored. As you can see, it was designed as a medium-sized craft, the better to reduce fuel consumption. Miniaturizing magics have been applied to its interior to ensure that the thrust-to-weight ratio does not place too great a limitation on its freight capacity. The ether burner, as you know, has been removed for further modification, but we shall reattach it soon. I have received word that Kakol and several of your allies are working on it with an intense fervor. We are sure to see it done. It was by their expertise that many a prior disaster was averted. If anything, I fear they will not afford us much time for speaking with Heidelin ere they finish. Point taken. Let us move on. I must warn you again, however, that even with the benefit of our device, treat with her is not a simple feat. I have done what I can to impress upon you the gravity of what lies ahead. Are you prepared? Yes, I am. Let me guess.